Hi everyone, Deborah Swan here. Okay, today's date is February the 5th. February the 4th of 2025. Can't believe it's already 2025, y'all. So much has been going on. What an interesting time to be alive and to watch what's happening unfold with our country. We're really living in historical times. The reason why I'm making this video is, again, I'm actually going to start a platform. Who knows where it's going to take me, but I feel like that we need to have, when I say we, I'm talking about people like myself, people who are really just regular people, who are just private, trying to live their life, but have found themselves wrapped up in a very dangerous and corrupt situation due to whatever reason brought them there. It could be from whistleblowing. It could be from pissing somebody off that has a badge. It could be for going to a school, a town hall meeting and speaking out against something that you're not pleased with within your community. It could be for being part of the Democratic Party. I mean, there's lots of reasons why people find themselves in situations like what I'm experiencing in my life. And I have a lot of information that I believe that will help those of you who are, going through something similar, as well as our new administration. For while they're conducting their investigations, I have I'm talking a lot of information that I know for a fact will be leads to help direct your investigation when you are working down the timeline all the way from the top and you follow the money trail all the way down to the bottom of the list. Follow the money trail. That's where you're going to find the truth. And so these operations that are happening all over the country, as well as in my county and here in Texas, this will help direct your investigations. I have a ton of IP addresses, of leads, of individuals, of names, of even a CNN. I have had a CNN, Kat Collins, the major Trump hater. She has been in my personal private email accounts. I have the proof of this. I have the proof of an Alabama judge, a Democratic Alabama judge, going through my private emails. I have a lot of, I have a crematory up in Gray, Georgia. And these are multiple times, not just one time. I mean, these individuals have been given, for whatever reason, my private passwords. And these individuals feel a need or an interest for whatever reason. I hope that you will be able to figure it out for me, FBI, and go through my private personal lives. They literally, and this is an ongoing issue. I found out this was happening a few years ago. I've chosen not to change my password because I wanted to find out to see a pattern of activity and to eventually find out who's doing it. And so that's what I did. I did not change my password. I've had a lot of problems over the years for these people inside my private emails and my private accounts, social media accounts. It's an ongoing problem. But I know that once somebody is able to get into your system, it's really hard to get them out. You need professional help. And it wasn't until this past June of 2024 was when I finally decided, because I felt like I had enough, and I do have enough data, ton of data, y'all. I mean, it's a lot of data of proof. So I decided the first time I've ever contacted the police myself, for this kind of reason, to reach out. And I'm a private investigator. Nothing, really interesting. All I've done the past, I guess, almost 5 years is work as a licensed private investigator here in Texas. And I usually do like fraud cases, unemployment fraud, insurance fraud, workman's compensation fraud, those kind of cases. But my point is that I do have some credentials. And so there was a personal case I did pro bono for a elderly woman recently, and she was a victim of deed fraud. So I did this whole entire case myself, found out who did it, had this whole packet of evidence, and I took it to the county, the precinct that she lives in, to their sheriff's office, and made a report with her. And long story short, the detective who took the case ended up having a successful outcome, all with my personal evidence that I did myself. So my point is that gives me some credibility. So that's who I called. In the very beginning, I reached out to him, this detective, asked him, what do? I have found 2 trackers in my vehicles over the past few years, as well as I have the literal metadata proof of my emails being illegally accessed by people who are not supposed to be accessing it. He told me that that is a crime, and he told me what I need to do. So I started that process, and the first thing that happened was these police officers came to my home. They immediately told me they're not going to do anything. They came unannounced. I wanted them to call me on the phone, but they came to my house in person. So we had a very nice conversation. They looked a little bit at some of my evidence. I was able to show them they weren't really interested in it. They told me there's nothing they can do to change my password, and then they left. Make a long story short, that irritated me, so I put a letter in the few neighbors that are around me to see what kind of response I would get. I got no response until one lady, but before this one lady responded, I got no response. But what I did get is the day after that, I get a knock at the door at my personal home, and it's a mental welfare check officer. Okay. He immediately started asking me these crazy questions, trying to say that someone called or worried about my mental health. I asked what I can do to find out who made the phone call. He told me to do a Freedom of Information request, so I did. And this is when I discovered how the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office has been illegally for the past few years creating a false profile against me, claiming on their stupid records that I'm a 1096-1096, which means I'm a crisis. I've had mental breakdowns before, which is 100% a lie. But that's a very concerning code that you will be profiled under, because what that code can do, if there's enough incidences in your database that look like or appear as if that you've had all these mental breakdowns, they can come and detain you against your will. Okay? So this is a tactic that is being illegally used against people like myself, okay? And it's a very, very big deal, okay? It's a very big problem. It might not seem like a big deal to anyone else, but when you're going through this and you see what's happening, and you see and you understand the covert actions that are being taken behind the scenes, there's a reason why this is happening. And it's a horrible thing to have to sit and accept the fact that this is happening to you, but it is. Okay? And so I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not an isolated event. So therefore, what do you do when you're in a situation like this? When you've been put on a list and you're being illegally watched, and you have people that you don't even know all the way to California, who's a CNN news anchor lady. When you have these kind of activities that you can literally see happening it's like there's no way to deny it. It's in my metadata. It's very easy to see these people's metadata. It's like they put their little fingerprints all over my life, and they've left their little tracks. And they never thought they never thought they were ever going to be in trouble, because until this administration, these kind of tactics have been going on for so long. Nobody ever gets held accountable. Nothing ever happens. And so it's like, it's gotten so bad that they just freely feel like that they're never going to get in trouble. So when they recruit people that are in your neighborhood, whatever tactics they use to get other people involved, no one has ever thought that this would ever be exposed, or this was ever going to stop, or people like myself will ever be able to do anything about it. So try to be me for a minute, okay? If you have never experienced, or if you've never had any kind of situation like this with hopefully you haven't, but this is really the last final phase of how to bring down a society, how to bring down people and to get them against each other, is what I'm experiencing right now. And so yes, we have Trump, we have all these great things happening, but the reason why they attack Trump and the reason why they go after Trump so hard as they've been going after him is so they have a way to get to us. So I'm experiencing how when I say they, I'm talking about the bad side, because we all know there's a good side and a bad side now. This is how the deep state, this is part of their plan to come after people like me. And so who am I? I'm a nobody, but I am the kind of person who obviously, I am not afraid to expose when someone's doing something wrong, and mainly a public official. I have a problem with that. And in my past, I have tried and I have done the best that I can do, all being by myself. If I had a team of people, I would be really great. But it's when you're on your own, pretty much, and you try to go up and you try to fix things that are corrupt, it's very hard to do. It's almost impossible. But my point is, I have made very, very genuine and very tenacious efforts over the years to expose. And so I have made some people very angry. Okay. So that's my point, is that people, when I say people like me, I mean people like me who speak out, I'm just not an easily conformed, I'm not easily brainwashed, I don't need to have approval from everybody around me to understand whatever I'm seeing or whatever I'm experiencing. I don't have to second question my own thoughts, okay? So to someone that's corrupt, they don't like people like me. Someone who's a bad actor who wants to do things or has bad intentions, you can't have somebody like me mixed up in the group, because I'm the kind of person who's going to try to, to find a way out, or to try to, expose the bad stuff going on. That's the kind of person I am. Whatever you want to, however you want to view that, but that's who I am. So this is why these operations, I believe, have been ongoing. This is why I'm sure there's been many other peoples who have had knocks at their door out of the blue, and all of a sudden they're being illegally detained and forced to have to go into a mental institution for evaluations. And this is what the left, the Democratic side, has had planned for us Trump supporters. We all heard about it. I'm sure everybody has heard about, the re-education camps. I mean, you've just listened to the mainstream media over the past 8 years, all the things they say they want to do. The Trump supporters were crazy, we're domestic terrorists, we're all these things. And so this is part of their plan that's been put into place, put into action, and it's happening to me, and I have proof to expose it. So therefore, that's what this video is about. I need to get help because I can't do this on my own. And when you have your local deputies in your local county, your local constables that you have just discovered by looking into your own private dispatch records that are made by your constables and sheriff's office. When I looked into my dispatch records, it's all full of lies. Okay, I've tried desperately to get a copy of these reports that have been made and fabricated by these deputies that have been lying about me, but they're refusing to give me a copy of these reports. It's a long story, but I've gone to the AG's Attorney General trying desperately to get a copy of this stuff so I can see what else they're saying about me, and I'm hitting a brick wall. So what does that mean? Why is this important, and why should any of you guys care about this? Because this is not just going to happen to me. Okay, this is not just about me. This is about everyone else out there that is, like me, that likes freedom, whatever. This is going to happen to more than just myself. Okay, there's a lot more I could talk about, but it's too much. I mean, this is too big to rig. I have so much evidence at this point, irrefutable evidence that shows what I'm sharing with you is true. Okay, but it's just too much to talk about right now. So when you're in a situation like this and you have bad actors that have a badge as well as bad actors around you, I mean, this operation that the Democratic Party has been putting into place is pretty big. And when you're on one of their lists, like I know I am, and they have a plan for you, which I'm sure I know they did, but that plan has been a wrench thrown into it because Trump is in office and because Trump is moving very fast and he's cleaning out the trash, okay? So the Democratic side, they don't know what to do. But this plan that I've been experiencing, our operation, they have literally went to the extreme measures of moving Democrats, and they plant these people all over in all different neighborhoods around the country, mainly around someone targeted like I am. So I literally have, over the past few years, these very bad people that live all around me, okay? And they're Democrats. I mean, these are paid operatives that are hired and they're on payroll, and they are moved in to neighborhoods Just like we saw with Antifa, just like we saw all these other crazy things that now we're all aware of that actually happen. And it's so crazy to even speak it out loud because it is crazy. But these people, the Democratic Party, this is what they do. They recruit people in neighborhoods that they can recruit, the ones that have been there for a long time, like the neighbors who've known me for a long time. They have, I don't know if they've threatened my neighbors, blackmailed them, or how they've done it. But they recruit your neighbors and then they move other people from other places into around your neighborhood, and they start plotting against certain people that are targeted. And that's what's been happening to me, and my local constables are involved, obviously, because I've caught their fabricated false incidents that have never happened, and they are withholding the information. They never thought that I would ever do a dispatch records, look into my private dispatch, but I did, and I've recorded every conversation I've had. I have a lot of proof of all this, y'all, but if I were you, I would start looking into your personal dispatch and just see what's going on with your local constables, because this is the tactic, or one of them, that they have planned, that they've been working their magic all these years to come after people like Trump supporters and people like me, to eventually have a reason to have you detained and to have you taken in for and declared a mental crisis or a mental issues. And this is one of their tactics. It's so highly illegal. The FBI needs to look into this. I know that they're aware of it. Thank you, Kash Patel. Thank you, Trump. That's the reason why I'm coming public right now, because this is the first time ever that we actually have a chance at really getting the help that we need to make these kind of illegal operations stop. Before Trump and before now Kash Patel, there's no way to get help for this. I mean, that's why they get away with it all these years, but that's why they're so arrogant today, and that's why they've never thought they were ever going to get in trouble. So again, I have a lot of information. I have a ton of names. I have a ton of evidence that will help guide an investigation, at least in the Texas area, as well as a very corrupt journalist up in Oregon, who he's one of the bad guys. When he's paid, he's one of the guys who will go out and send his people to start digging up information on whoever the public official is, and he's a blackmailer. So he's one of the people that is hired for blackmailing public officials, and he publicly talks about this openly. So that his name is Edward Snook of the U.S. Observer up in Oregon. Y'all, FBI, please look into his organization. He's highly corrupt. I have a lot of information on human trafficking going up in Oregon. A lot of information here, human trafficking out of Texas. Again, I have a lot of information. So if anything happens to me, this is to my enemies. Just know that help is coming. Just know that the Trump administration is coming to help and to make all this stop. God bless. Come back for the rest of my information. I hope I have your interest, and peace out. Thanks for listening.